Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today is May 19th, 2025, and wow, the headlines are really painting a complex picture across the U.S.
Yeah, it feels like a lot is happening all at once. We're seeing major stories on health, the economy, severe weather, safety concerns, even diplomacy.
Exactly. We've sorted through reports from, the major news outlets, even glanced at some social media discussion, always cross-checking, of course.
Good point. It's crucial to verify, especially with how fast things move online.
So our mission today is pretty straightforward. Cut through the noise, connect some dots, and really understand the significance of these different events.
Let's do it. Because you're right, these things might seem separate, but they often reflect bigger trends or challenges we're facing. It's about getting that clearer perspective.
Okay, let's unpack this, starting with a story getting a lot of attention, former President Biden's health. News came out yesterday, still very prominent today.
Right. It's a significant diagnosis. ABC News has reported it's an aggressive form of prostate cancer.
Aggressive. What does that mean in this context?
Well, they specified it's high grade, with a Gleason score of 9. That score basically indicates how aggressive the cancer cells look. 9 is on the higher end.
Okay.
And importantly, it's hormone sensitive, which affects treatment options, but unfortunately, it's also spread to his bones. That makes it quite serious.
That's really tough news. And we saw reactions coming in pretty quickly yesterday, didn't we? From Obama, Trump, Vice President Harris.
Yes, ABC reported those. It's one of those moments that seems to cut across the usual political noise, at least initially.
It also popped up on social media, I noticed. Saw a mention on X at Anime Alchemy 24 flagged it too.
Yeah, it shows how fast this stuff spreads. But again, we're relying on the confirmed details from sources like ABC News here.
And ABC is apparently offering more video content on it, explaining screening and implications.
It's just a lot of public interest. And, this could genuinely raise awareness. A high-profile case like this often does.
So beyond the headlines about a former president, what's the takeaway for people listening?
Well, like I said, awareness is key. It might prompt more men to discuss prostate cancer screening with their doctors, understand their own risks, and even though he's out of office, his health situation could still subtly, ripple through political conversations.
Okay. Let's pivot now to the economy, another major story. Moody's downgrading the U.S. credit rating. That sounds, well, potentially worrying.
It definitely raises eyebrows. Reuters reported this could increase investor anxiety about the U.S. fiscal path.
Fiscal path, basically the government's long-term financial plan, right? How it manages money.
Exactly. A downgrade like this from a major agency like Moody's essentially signals they have some concerns about whether that path is sustainable long-term. It's a knock on confidence.
And this isn't just abstract financial stuff, is it? I saw mentions on X yesterday at NDTV Profit India talking about impacts on the dollar and stock futures.
Yeah, the markets often react quickly. That shows the immediate financial implications. And it wasn't totally out of the blue either. At Rebecca0132 on X flagged the significance even back on the 17th.
So it's been brewing.
Seems like it. Its relevance today really highlights the ongoing concern about economic stability. It makes you wonder, how might that increased investor worry eventually trickle down, maybe affecting interest rates or borrowing?
Things to keep an eye on. Okay, from economic worries to something immediate and devastating.
The severe weather and wildfires. The human cost here is just awful.
It really is. Reuters reported at least 25 deaths in Kentucky and Missouri from those terrible storms on the 17th and 18th.
25 people. That's heartbreaking.
And it's not over. ABC News just updated within the last couple of hours, saying 30 million people are still bracing for more severe weather.
Yeah.
They mentioned significant tornado outbreaks, too.
30 million under threat. And then out west, you have the wildfires, the Greer Fire.
Yes, the latest ABC update on that, just minutes ago, actually, is that it's exploded to 20,000 acres.
20,000? That's massive.
It is, and they have over 700 personnel fighting it. It gives you a sense of the scale we're dealing with.
And you have to connect this to the broader climate picture, don't you? Increasingly, yes. The intensity of these storms, the scale of these fires, it aligns with what climate scientists have been projecting. The immediate impact is tragic loss of life and property, but the long-term effects on, infrastructure, resources, even insurance costs are huge.
Switching tracks to another piece of tragic news, this one more localized from Ohio, a train accident.
Yes, incredibly sad. ABC News reported this maybe 40 minutes ago. A mother, her daughter, and a 5-year-old girl were struck and killed by a train on a bridge.
Oh, terrible. The headline said 3 dead, 1 child injured. Just awful.
Absolutely awful. ABC has a video update, which might give more context, but it immediately brings up questions about safety, doesn't it?
Definitely. How does something like this happen?
Well, that's what the investigation will look into. It really highlights rail safety, especially around pedestrian access near tracks and bridges. This will likely, and rightly, fuel discussion about prevention.
Yeah, you'd hope so. Okay, shifting now to a security story. The FBI identifying a suspect in that Palm Springs fertility clinic bombing.
This is a really serious one. Reuters reported yesterday that the bombing, which sadly killed one person and injured others, is being treated as terrorism.
Terrorism. And they have a suspect now.
Identified today, according to Reuters. So that investigation is moving forward. It brings the reality of domestic security threats right back into focus.
An attack on a fertility clinic that's particularly disturbing, raises questions about the motive behind it.
It does, and it really underscores the need for ongoing vigilance from law enforcement against potential domestic extremism and terrorism. Also, questions about securing facilities that might be seen as targets.
A lot to think about there. Okay, finally, let's touch on a bit of diplomacy. Vice President Vance meeting with the Pope.
Yes, NPR reported this yesterday. Vice President J.D. Vance met with Pope Leo XIV at the Vatican.
Any particular reason for the meeting?
The suggestion from NPR is that it might be an effort to sort of reset or improve relations, maybe after some past U.S. criticism of Vatican stances, particularly on migration policies, like smoothing things over at a high level.
Got it. And I saw a little detail he gave the Pope a Chicago Bears jersey.
Apparently so. Adds a human touch or maybe just an American touch to the diplomacy. You wonder what the Pope, a non-American, thought of that.
Huh. Yeah, maybe he's secretly a Bears fan.
Who knows? But seriously, it points to the constant effort involved in diplomacy. Maintaining relationships, even with long-standing entities like the Vatican, takes work, sometimes mending fences.
So, quite a range we've covered today. Former president's health, economic jitters, natural disasters, a terrible accident, a terrorism investigation, and diplomacy. It's a real snapshot of the country right now.
It really is. And like we said at the start, they might seem like separate threads: health, economy, environment, safety, security, foreign relations, but they're all part of the larger fabric of what's happening in the U.S. in 2025. They connect in complex ways.
So, thinking about all these diverse events we've just discussed,
Yeah.
what's maybe one underlying factor, one common thread that you think will most significantly shape things in the years ahead? Something for our listeners to consider.